hello. This is Christy Lawrence of My Time to Profit. If you're new around here, what I do is I help businesses and business owners make more money by finding and winning the clients they most want to work with. And one of the ways that you can get more effective at finding and winning clients is to create a sales plan. So for the next few weeks, that's what we're going to be talking about over here at Time to Profit, is how to create and use a sales plan to grow your business in 2020. But if you're not sure, like, I don't know if I really need sales, or I don't know if I really need a plan, maybe this isn't right for me, I want to give you 6 questions to consider. So before you dive into the content, think about these 6 questions and see if creating a sales plan is really what your business needs in 2020. So the first thing is, do you have the bandwidth to serve more customers? So here's the deal. If you are overwhelmed and you can't serve your current customers well and effectively, creating a plan to get more customers might not be what your key priority is for 2020, right? Are you with me on this? So that doesn't mean you don't need a plan, but maybe you need a plan around customer delivery. Maybe you need a plan around scalability. Maybe you need a plan around hiring more people. There are a lot of things you can create plans around, but if you don't currently have the bandwidth to serve more customers, creating a plan to get more customers might be doing the right thing, but not at the right time. Right? But if you do have the bandwidth to serve more customers, good indication that your business could gain some value from creating a sales plan. The second thing I want you to think about is, are you frustrated with waiting for customers to find you? Do you check your email and not have any new customer inquiries? Is the phone not ringing? Are you waiting for people to call you but getting frustrated because it's not happening? If the answer is yes to that, creating a proactive sales plan to help you proactively get in front of the people you want to work with could absolutely benefit you and your business in 2020. The third thing that I really want you to think about here is, if you've been spending a lot of time and money on social media, on marketing, on advertising, and you're not gaining traction or seeing results. If maybe you're gaining followers, but you're not gaining customers. Maybe you're getting inquiries, but you're not winning them over. If those things are happening, I understand it can be very, very frustrating because you're putting in a ton of resources and a ton of time, and it can feel really discouraging. If that's the case, it might be time to think about having a proactive sales strategy to help balance out your marketing efforts and to help you really create the business and the growth that you want in 2020. The other thing that you should think about is, do you want to be more proactive in your business? Sales is really about taking a proactive approach to business versus a passive approach to business. If that is something that you want to do, that you feel excited about, creating a plan around sales will absolutely help you to be more proactive in your business. The next thing that you might want to think about is, are you in the habit of saying yes to projects or clients that you're not excited about, that you're kind of resentful about, but you're saying yes because you need the money? I get it. When you're starting out in business or you're growing a business, cash flow is king. And sometimes you have to say yes to things you don't want to because you need that cash flow to build the business. But when you are proactive about sales and about going after the customers you want, you can create a business where you're not having to say yes to those customers because you're already in contact with the customers and around the projects that you're most excited about. So if you're saying yes to a lot of things that you're not excited about, really having a sales plan and sales strategy is something that can absolutely help you. The final thing I want you to think about is your revenue stagnant, or are you growing more slowly than you like? If the answer is yes to those things, it's really a time to reevaluate what are the things that can help you get past that plateau in terms of customers coming in and revenue coming in and help take your business to the next level. Having a sales plan is one of the things that can absolutely help you in that. So if you answered yes to 2 or more of these questions, probably a pretty good indicator that you're in the right place and you're gonna wanna be a part of this conversation around creating a plan that works for you. Before we dive into planning, I want to talk about some mindset things about how I think about planning, why planning is important, and I also want to talk to you about really this whole concept. It seems like, of course, having a plan is something you want to have in your business. It seems like it's a no-brainer, right? But here's the deal. Thinking something's a no-brainer and doing it are two very different things. And a lot of times there's a few three, I will say, big obstacles that get in the way of us actually sitting down and creating a plan that will work for us and for you and for your business. The first one is you're busy. You intend to make a plan, but life happens. You keep having to put out client fires. You keep having to meet client deadlines, and you don't take the time to create the plan. It's something that you mean to do, it just doesn't happen because you don't have time. But here is the paradox of that, is that having a plan will actually free up more time for you. So even if you feel like you don't have the time, if you could just dedicate an hour to sitting down and creating a sales plan, you're gonna have so much more time in your business to deal with those other fires and those other things that happen. The next thing that happens is maybe you've spent time and effort creating a plan before, and then it just sat on your Mac or on your desk, and you never looked at it again. Nothing ever happened. So it feels like planning is a waste of time. I get that. I totally do. Who wants to do something that isn't going to have an impact? I want to talk to you about why that really isn't a waste of time, even if you never look at the plan again. Obviously, the more you look at the plan, utilize the plan, the more effective it's going to be, but just the process of planning is very effective. And we're going to talk about that here today. The third obstacle that gets in the way of people actually executing and creating a sales plan is they do not like to be told what to do. Maybe they're a rebel, they value autonomy. I am this person, so I get it. I'm like, I don't want anyone to tell me what to do, even if I'm the one telling me what to do. But here's the thing, is that when we create a plan, we actually end up with more freedom. Like more freedom around the things that we want to do in our life and more time. So just bear with me if you're like, I want to follow my inspiration. I want things to happen organically. I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. I'm telling you, that is the way I am, and I have learned to embrace planning, and it has helped me to have more freedom and autonomy in my business and in my life. So just know that this isn't going to be a regimented plan that you're going to just be held your feet to the fire, but it is going to be a plan that is going to help you create more of what you want and in your business. So as we're talking about that, I really want to spend today talking about why planning is so important and the three things that going through the process of planning are really going to help you do for your business. First, let me start by talking about what a plan isn't. It isn't something that is set in stone and that never changes. It's also not just a list of goals and action items. A plan isn't something that is meant to be followed exactly or something that you do once and then simply execute. What a plan actually is setting an intention for what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. It's essentially deciding in advance how you think you're going to move towards your goals. My very favorite quote about planning is from Dwight Eisenhower. And he said, "In preparing for battle, I have always found that plans are useless, but planning is indispensable." Right? So it sounds counterintuitive. Why am I saying plans are useless, but I'm saying let's create a plan? It's because the process of planning itself is incredibly, incredibly valuable. And I'm going to tell you three reasons why right now. So the first is it's going to help you think through different scenarios. By thinking through different scenarios in advance, your brain is primed to respond much more quickly and much more effectively for any kind of scenario that you couldn't possibly plan for, right? And this is where that quote comes from. It's the reality that as soon as you start executing the plan goes out the window and it changes. But the fact that you've thought through different things and you've thought through what you want to create and different ways to get there will help you make decisions and take actions that are going to shoot you towards where you want to go much more effectively than if you haven't taken the time to prime your brain and think about those things in advance. I use this example, my friends this last week introduced me to a game of dominoes called Mexican Train. Never played it before. And there's this whole thing where you're trying to line up your dominoes in a certain way based on what you draw, and you can kind of plan it in advance. But then somebody inevitably comes in and messes up your plan by, making it so that you can't play that turn. You have to use your domino somewhere else, or you don't have the right domino and you have to draw a domino and then everything gets thrown off. But having that plan of what I wanted to do made it so much more effective for me to make those decisions in the moment. Okay, this isn't what I planned. What's the next best thing, right? What's the next thing that's gonna keep me closest on track to my plan? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So that's just a silly example, but it's totally true in our business too, that when you have that plan, when you've thought through it, you're gonna make better choices, even when it's things that happen that aren't in the plan. Here's the next reason that planning is super, super important. It helps you to see what is possible. So when I was in medical sales, every quarter, I would sit down, I'd pull up my Excel document, and I would make a list of my regular customers and how much of my product I thought those customers were going to use that quarter. This was just a guess. I had no way of knowing. They had no way of knowing. But just based on conversations and what I knew about them and past trends, I would do some projections. Two things would happen here. Either I would be like, I'd add up all the numbers and I'm like, oh, I totally got this. This is awesome. This is gonna be, I'm gonna totally exceed my goal. I'm gonna rock it. It's gonna be amazing. Or I'd be like, this is not looking good. So I'd have to think about what can I do differently? How can I think outside the box? What do I need to do? How am I gonna fill that gap, right? Do I need to see more customers? Do I need to see different customers? Do I need to be doing something totally different? But it was so helpful to see that in advance versus just assuming there was a path and then being surprised at the end of the quarter when there wasn't. Having that path forward and seeing how it could happen helps you to build confidence. It helps you to say, yes, this is achievable. And if you can't get there, to then get creative when you're not under the gun, when you don't just have 2 weeks to execute it and hit it, to be more successful. So this is really, really powerful in terms of, for you and your mindset, either giving you the confidence that you are going to be able to hit that goal and have a path to do it, or recognizing that there are going to be some challenges along the way and you're going to have to come up with some new strategies, but having the time to do it. The third reason that planning is so important is that it helps to reduce distractions. Now, I am a super distractible person. I have a serious case of shiny object syndrome. I would be like, okay, this is a great example. I put together all of my networking plans that I want to go to, and then my girlfriend's like, let's go for a run. And I'm like, okay, right? Like, whatever. Sure, that sounds fun, right? I'm a yes person. I read the book by Shonda Rhimes, The Year of Yes, and I'm like, that's what I already do in my life. I actually need to learn to be more of a no person. And having a plan helps me with that, because what it helps me do is really be curious about, why am I doing this thing that's not helping me reach my goals, and it helps me course correct much more quickly. It doesn't mean I don't get distracted. I still get distracted. I still do things that aren't on my plan. But when I can make adjustments more quickly, I can have much more time and freedom in my life in general. So if I notice all of a sudden I'm going to 15 networking events in a month, but I'm not taking action towards my key priority, I can say, hey, I can ditch some of these, spend that time on my key priority, and then spend some more time up on the mountain with my friends skiing, right? So it helps me create that freedom and autonomy by giving me the power and the reason why I'm saying yes to the things I'm saying yes to, and no to the things that I'm saying no to. It's counterintuitive, but having a plan truly gives me more freedom and reduces overwhelm. And that really helps me to be more successful and happier in my business and in my life. So I want to hear from you. Which of these do you identify with? Are you a planner by nature? Do you struggle with having a plan? Have you already created your plan for 2020? We're going to be talking next week about the 5 critical elements that every plan must have in order for that plan to work for you. In the meantime, head on over to mytimetoprofit.com and download the free sales planning tool and checklist to get you started creating a sales plan, especially if you said yes to a lot of those initial first 6 questions and you're like, okay, maybe I haven't had a sales plan before, I don't know where to start. Stick with me for the next week, download your free sales, next few weeks, download your free sales planning tool and checklist, and we will get you on track to creating a plan that works for you. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you next week.